We'll go ahead and get started here. Thank you all for coming. What a great turnout. This is really exciting, and the weather held out for us. This is great. So we've got a great group of speakers here today, so I'll keep my remarks really brief. I'm Tim Leisman. I'm one of the owners here at Simantel. So the reason we're all here today is directly behind me, as you can see, this impressive mural, this great piece of art that we're so excited to have on the back of our building here at Simantel. Just a real quick little backstory on it. This is about a year and a half plus in the making. At the end of 2021, our other owner partner, Maggie, planned to retire, and Misty and I kind of racked our brain and said, gosh, what do you get somebody like Maggie who spent 20 years here, was a creating driving force for Simantel? What could sum up that? What could be something that she would find meaningful? And it came to us. She's very involved with Big Picture and the arts community here in Peoria, and we thought we have this giant blank canvas behind our building that if anybody could figure out how to put it to good use and create something meaningful and inspirational for Simantel and our community, it's Maggie. So we surprised her and said, your gift is this canvas to put up a mural, come up with an idea. She showed us the inspiration, and this beautiful thing is what we've got today, and are excited to show it off. We thought about doing a grand reveal with a butterfly release and a giant tarp, and it turns out that's expensive and not terribly safe, so we scrapped all that and said, let's do a press conference instead. So here we are today. I'm going to turn it over to Misty, my partner here at Simantel, and she's going to talk a little bit more.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Misty Dykema. I'm the other co-owner at Simantel, and I could not be prouder of this moment. It is so beautiful. I am in love with this painting. Maggie is not only my ex-business partner, she's a close friend, and she taught me two things during her time here. Number one was the importance of team. And there's actually a quote inside our building on the wall that says, whatever good things we build end up building us. And I love that because it speaks to the work that we do every day. We do it together. And the other thing Maggie and I kept in common is that this is our home. When we walked in this back door every single day, we think about the people that we get to spend not just our work, but our life with. And that meant so much to me. The other thing Maggie instilled in me is just her love of the art, right? At our core, Simantel is a creative business. It's what makes us different. It was what makes us stand out. And so we are intensely proud of that, and we are so proud to be a part of the arts community. For those who don't know, Simantel is an investor in the Choose Greater Peoria movement this year, and part of that messaging is the idea that we can live, work, and play greater in Peoria. And part of living and playing in Peoria is our amazing arts community, the wonderful talent that we have here, and so we're just proud to be able to display some of that on our building, and I would make a call to all business leaders in the region to continue to invest in this way because it makes Peoria great. Now I'm going to pass it to Doug to talk a little bit about Big Picture.
Thank you. I've got a story to tell because I probably am responsible for Simantel, or as I like to call it, Simantel, because I'm an old guy. Actually, I'm the one that got Jim Simantel into Caterpillar. Now, some of you might question that because my boss, Bonnie Briggs, hired him to do a service publications cover. Now, I don't know if you know what service publications look like, but they're pretty non-creative. They're just a blank page with type on it. Jim comes in and art directs me to take this beautiful photograph, and it was truly beautiful. It was striking. It was engine bearings in a pool of oil, and it's lit nice. It's very cool. Well, Jim, after that, started getting jobs all over Caterpillar. So I like to tell that story. Jim would tell it differently. So I really do have a great deal of honor to be here because in the 40 years that I've had associations with Simantel, I've seen nothing but excellent, beautiful work come out of this agency. In fact, I was a Caterpillar photographer for 30 years, so all that time I was shooting for you guys, and I always loved the work that I got from Simantel because it was always interesting, always good, always creative, and congratulations, you guys. You're doing the work that needs to be done. So thank you for that. Now, I got involved with this because Bob Doucette came to Peoria a couple of years ago. In fact, he was the first one of the people that we included in our Big Picture festival, street festival, which is happening this Saturday, by the way, so don't miss it. It's going to be a good experience, lots of performance going on. But Bob, in that early year of 19, it was, right? 18, the first year. He had a painting on his wall when we visited his home that was the Beatles. And I saw that and I thought, oh, there's a paint by number if I ever saw one. So we made a paint by number for the community to paint. We put it up on Chuck Gabbert's Art Park wall, along with 4 other things that he's got down there, and spent the entire day working on it to complete it. Well, we didn't get it done, so the next day we went down with a smaller crew, Bob and some of his friends, and Maggie and Mark were there as well. Finished it off, and then afterwards we, of course, congratulated ourselves by spending the afternoon at Jimmy's Bar. So that was also my first introduction to Bob. A couple years later after that, he's mentioning that he sure would like to paint a mural, but how could he do that? And I thought, oh, we're kind of in that business a little bit, so let's keep our ears open. And sure enough, when we heard what Simantel was going to offer Maggie as a gift, I went to Maggie and said, hey, Bob wants to do a mural. And she was just thrilled and excited about this possibility. So with that, no further ado, I'd like to introduce Bob Doucette, the artist of this beautiful work. Thank you, Bob.
Hello. First of all, I'm going to just do some thank yous. Someone who's not here today, unfortunately, was my assistant, Brenda Pagan, who you can see over there, and she was fantastic. As far as assistants go, I could not have asked for better. She put all of her best effort into it, and I really appreciate everything she did. Secondly, Big Picture. It is true, they embraced me, as did a lot of artists in this town, as soon as I moved to Peoria 5 years ago. And because of them, I've had a lot of opportunities. And I also like to say that one thing I've always loved about them is that they have always made new opportunities for artists, and they've looked out for artists in this community, which really is a wonderful thing, that you need someone like that looking after you. So thank you for that. Thirdly, I would like to thank the lovely Maggie, who this is all about. When I first moved here about 5 years ago, my closest friend at the time was Stacy Peterson, and she knows everyone in this town, and if she doesn't know you, then you've got to find her. And she introduced me to so many amazing people, and we went to the art fair the first year, and Maggie and Mark were walking towards her, and I could see her getting excited and waving, and I was like, who's that? And she always has very cute ways of referring to things. She said, cutest couple in Peoria. And I was like, oh, like the yearbook. That's the cute. And then I met them, and I was like, they are the cutest couple in Peoria. So they don't know it, but that's what I think whenever I see them coming. Here's the cutest couple. So anyways, I met Maggie and Mark at the art fair, and then I kept seeing them at other art events and other art events at galleries, and I realized, yeah, they are a true friend of the arts. And I was thrilled and delighted when Maggie chose me for this, because it's something I've always wanted to do. So I hope that she's happy with it. I think we had a really good meeting of minds on this. And part of her concept was to really show the people who are in this building what she felt about them. And that's why I tried to create the feeling that you were being hugged when you walked through the doors. And that's kind of my big message, my underlying message of this. And also, last but not least, I'd like to thank Simantel, because none of this would have happened if it hadn't meant for them. And they were such gracious hosts. You were all such gracious hosts to me. It's a little scary and daunting at my age to be up on a lift 3 stories up. And everyone who went by was always very supportive and lovely to deal with. So thank you. I appreciate it. You made it a beautiful event for me. All right. And now the lady of the moment, Maggie Misselhorn.
It's like so cool, you guys, so cool. First I want to say, and you guys, anyone like leadership team, Tim or Misty, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I kind of think this is some kind of payback because not many of you know this who don't work with me, but I was never considered an emotional or vulnerable person at Simantel. It was always like, oh, Maggie's not the emotional type. So I'm thinking when you're brainstorming this gift for me, you're like, okay, what is our overriding objective of this gift? Someone probably said, let's make her cry. And then you did a fist of 5, and everyone went, 5, let's make her cry. And I want you all to know you have been successful in that because I've cried like 15, 20 times, which I'm going to try not to do today. Sorry, Doug. I'm going to try not to do it. So I just want to thank Tim, Misty, all of you guys at Simantel. It's a crazy cool gift. It's cool. And I think probably the coolest part of it is it's for you too. Okay, so that's pretty great. Then secondly, Susie Ketter, who's here, her and her husband Mark, where are you, Susie? Her and her husband Mark and my previous partner too, Kevin, and his wife Carolyn, for saying yes to this on the back of the building. I mean, it's not discreet, so it's not like, oh, change your trim color. This is like, this is major, so, really appreciate you guys agreeing to it, and I hope you love it as much as I do. And then, of course, Big Picture. I happen to be on the board, as does my husband Mark, and I have to just say, like, Eileen and Doug are like the heart of Big Pic, and it's not like they don't have anything on their plate right now, okay? We've got the street festival, as Doug mentioned, and that's this Saturday, so we're doing a ton of planning right now. Street Festival is from 10 to 4, September 9th. That's family fun for all. There'll be food and drinks, and you can participate, or you can just view, or you can listen to music. Okay, I'm done with that. So anyway, but you guys, they spent so much of their time and so much of their energy thinking through the details of this, planning the logistics of it, troubleshooting issues, and just being here at night and being up on a lift. And I mean, it was a lot to ask. And so, in the midst of all of the street festival, and then we'll have another mural unveiling of a new Abraham Blue in October. You're all invited, more details to come. And that's going to be amazing. So I appreciate you guys so much. And my husband, Mark, who is also on the board during all of this, he gave me a couple heart attacks climbing ladders, trying to find outlets on a light post and trimming a tree, which we won't go into details about, just in case anyone from the city's here. We don't have to go into that. But so really appreciate that too. And then Bob. I mean, you guys, we're just so blessed to have an artist like him in our community. We have so many great artists. It's so, just to be able to say, like, Maggie, who would you want for this? And work with, Eileen and Doug talking about Bob, Bob wanting to do this. And that's crazy, unbelievable that he would do this. It's his first mural, so he went giant to do it. And the cool thing was that I could watch him, over time on Facebook where he was posting photos of it. So I knew he was having fun and that he loved it, and that made me feel really good. And then Brenda, as Bob had mentioned, she can't be here today, but Brenda is another local artist with Pagoba, which is a Peoria Guild of Black Artists, and she has quite a few murals under her belt, so she added that expertise, but then, she also just seamlessly integrated her talent into Bob's overall concept and design. You can't tell that two artists worked on this. This looks like just one fluid, awesome piece. So I just appreciate your talent, Bob, and what you brought to this, and the fact that you got up on the lift and risked your life. I mean, literally risked your life. You didn't see the lift. I mean, it was a little scary. But anyway, so that's been a real gift to me, and I appreciate that. So, and then lastly, just a little bit about this and why it's this. So, as an idea, I used to park over in that parking lot over there. And so for years, before we met all the time via video, on Teams or on Zoom, before we could see each other all the time, we would work really late here. And we would we're on deadline, maybe for a presentation, or maybe it's to deliver a strategy. You're on deadline, you're working and working, you stay really late, then you walk over and you get in your car and you drive home, you think about it the whole way home. I know you guys still do this, so Think about it. You get home, you're going to get a little bit of sleep because you got to get up early and come back in and, you know, prepare for the presentation. And so, but when you got home, you would just go, oh my gosh, this feels overwhelming, you know? This is like, we got a lot to do, and I don't know if we'll get it all done. And so then you would start to feel like it's on you, like, oh my gosh, I have so much work to do. But then the next morning, early, like really early, come around the roundabout, pull in, there's already cars there. It's your team members. And so you're like, huh, I'm not alone. And then you'd see the lights on already because someone's here earlier than you. And then you would walk in the door and you'd hear it. It's like the buzz. I mean, not on Mondays. That didn't happen on Mondays. Mondays are really just dead. But it would amp up, you know, over the week. But you just knew your team was there. They had your back. You're going to not only do it, but you're going to kill it. So that's what this is all about. It's everyone having each other's back, lifting each other up. And at the very top, those three people aren't anyone specific, and that's for a reason. It just means, you know, we represent people who have maybe exaggerated personalities or exaggerated talent, and we need to embrace that and leverage it. And so I think this is a beautiful statement about Simantel. It's a great gift to the neighborhood and to the community, and maybe a lesson for all of us that we can all do really great things, send a lot of beautiful things out into the world if we have each other's back. Thanks so much.